So now we're going to take a look at our vertex form, and we're just going to describe the changes. So there's no graphing today, we're just going to use words and describe. So let's reiterate what we learned yesterday. So A tells us a couple different things. If it is opening up or down, so if A is negative, let's just add to that. If A is negative, then that means that it's opening down. If A is positive, then that means it's opening up. So that's what we have to pay attention to there. And then if A is bigger than 1, you're stretching. If A is equal to 1, you're normal. So if there is no number there, then that would be considered normal. And then if A is between 0 and 1, then that means you are a compression. And yesterday we talked that it's really just a fraction where it's a smaller number over a bigger number. So like 1/4. That would be an example of a small over a big. If I gave you 5/4, that's actually now going to be a stretch because that is bigger than 1. And then your vertex is at that HK, where H is telling you left or right movement, and then the K tells you up or down movement, which means a vertically shifting up or down. So let's take a look at some of these problems here. So we just need to describe it. The first thing we look at, I just look at it from left to right. The very first thing I see is a negative right there. So the negative tells me that I am going to open down. Or another way we could say that would be reflected. The next part I see is the 3, which is my H, and then I have the 2. So that's a -3, but that means that my vertex is going to be at a +3, 2. So if my vertex is at 3, 2, a +3 means I'm going to go right 3, and a +2 means I'm going to go up 2. And that would be the description of that first one. Let's go to the next one on the right. So I see a 4. Well, it's a +4, which means I'm going to be opening up because it's positive. Whoops. And then the 4, since it's bigger than 1, you're going to stretch. And then we need to take a look at our H and our K. So our vertex, well, H is a +1, which means it's going to be a -1, and then a -6. So because our vertex is at -1, -6, then that means I'm going to go left 1 and down 6. So every point is going to shift left 1 and down 6. Let's look at this next one here. So our first thing we see is a negative. Well, negative in the front means that I am going to open down, which remember also means that I'm reflecting. The next thing I see is 1/2. 1/2 is a smaller number over a bigger number because 1 is smaller than 2, so that means I'm going to compress by 1/2. And then the next thing I would need to look at is my H and my K. Well, if you think, or if you look at that, we have nothing in the K spot, so my vertex is going to be at -7, 0. -7 means you're going to go left 7, and then 0 means I'm not moving up or down. And so that would be the description of that problem there. Let's look at this last one here. So this one's unique because it just says x squared. Well, when I see an x squared, that could mean that I could rewrite this with my parentheses as x minus 0 squared. So that means the same thing as what you have there. So the number out in the front, the A, well, there's nothing there. Because there's nothing there, it's understood that it's a +1. So because it's a +1, that means we're opening up, and it's a normal curve. Oops. Because A is 1. And then we want to look at our H and our K. Well, when I rewrite it, I can see my H and my K. So my vertex, well, a -0 and +0, they mean the same thing. So Vertex means our h is 0 and our k is negative 5, which means I'm not moving left or right, but I am going to move everything down 5.